Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, my name is Tania Khosyi. In this video, me and my group of friends will review a political journal entitled Digital Politics. Rapid changes in microelectronics and data processing have transformed the world over the last 30 years. Personal computers first appeared in the mid-1970s and began to become common in office in the mid-1980s, before becoming a daily necessity soon thereafter. While remote forms of communication between computers in government and in research university began in the 1960s, the origin of today's ubiquitous internet did not appear until the late 1980s and early 1990s, when commercial internet providers began offering extensive service to companies and customers. The consequences of these two sets of changes were far-reaching. In this edition, the author presents 4 articles that discuss this paradigm shift in the way we struggle, get around, and entertain ourselves. The first 2 contributions address how transportation in urban area has been disrupted by the rise of Uber. In many places, he challenged the highly regulated and profitable taxi industry, valuing assets and displacing the workforce. Uber hasn't just changed the urban transport market, creating a winner-takes-all entrepreneur who creates, invests, and bets on the company's platforms and pays for taxi companies and drivers. Its new dystopian threat, its television series and films, the main article, entitled Disruptive Regulation, Uber's Protection of Political Disorder in the United States, was co-authored by Ruth Berens Collier, Pina Dubal, and Christopher Carter. Their focus is not only on changing the pattern of established urban transportation market, but on how Uber also effectively escaped regulation by local governments, state legislatures, and courts. First, its new means providing service broke away from traditional ways of organizing trade. Second, Uber has leveraged its privileged position of capital for regulatory breach in bureaucracy and billing. And Uber has also automatically mobilized its own consumers and drivers to fight complaints filed by companies and taxi drivers.
In the politics of attributing blame for cyber attacks and the cause of uncertainty, Marcus Zelska highlights the difficulties in identifying the culprits and motives behind cyber attacks. This lack of clarity makes it challenging for those affected to respond effectively. Marcus argues that this issue is primarily discussed by experts and politicians, neglecting the involvement of the general public. He suggests that it is important to engage citizens in broader discussions to prevent the blaming of familiar scapegoats and the spread of conspiracy theories. Marcus warns that the uncertainty surrounding the identity of cyber attacks perpetrators can undermine accountability in democratic societies, adding extra cost to maintaining security. The last piece, it's the end of the world and they know it, how dystopian fiction shapes political attitudes by Calvert W. Jones and Celia Paris. The authors explore the influence of dystopian fiction on political study attitudes. They note the rising popularity of dystopian stories in books, TV shows, and movies, which often depict unsettling trends of the present and envision their extrapolation into the future. The authors argue that the popularity of dystopian fiction reflects anxieties about the digital age and its potential for increased manipulation, surveillance, and control. Despite political scientists largely ignoring the impact of fiction on political attitudes, Jones and Paris conduct experiments that reveal exposure to dystopian fiction leads viewers to justify radical and even violent actions against unjust authority. Surprisingly, however, viewers' level of social connection, known as social capital, remain unaffected. The text also mentioned the increasing number of scholarly monographs on digital age. Digital politics, reflecting its growing importance. The special digital politics section in the book review highlight recent works in this field.
Okay, next. This issue includes three additional stimulating articles. The first is new contribution to the journal extended engagement with the impact of the carceral state on race and politics in the United States. Michael A. Owens and Hannah Walker take a position contrary to the current wisdom that all involuntary contact with the carceral system has negative implications for political participation. Based on a sample chart from the metropolitan Chicago, they show that while custodial citizens are less likely to vote or to register to vote even after re-enfranchisement, those involved with civil society organizations are far more likely to participate in non-electoral civic activity. In Partners in Crime, an empirical evaluation of the CAA rendition, detention, and interrogation program, Avril Smith and Catherine Seeking examined the impact of participation in the CAA rendition program on human rights protection in partner states. The evidence leads to the conclusion that anti-terrorist programs need to be assessed in a fashion that takes into account their broader consequences, including the welfare of citizens in partner countries. In bonded rationally without bonded democracy, not just democratic citizenship and pathway for building civic capacity, Mark Edward Barton considered the possible civic consequences of state intervention that seek to influence individual behavior in ways to produce predictable outcome in favors. And the next reflection. We have three provocation reflection as well in this issue. In the discipline, we are clearly aware of issue of gender, and as in many parts of American life, the hashtag #MeToo movement has had an important impact on leading universities such as Harvard and highly visible journals such as the American Journal of Political Science that commissioned attacks forced to study sexual harassment. And then they asked Virginia Shapiro, one of the co-authors of the report, to reflect on the questions of harassment. Next will be presented by Rafi.
Elements of gender, sexuality, and power. Shapiro drew on her background in political behavior and democratic theory to explain sexual harassment intractability through a framework that focuses on its embeddedness in subordinating structure. After discussing the problem through the lens of public opinion, law, public policy, and performative theory, she proposed a normative standard of anti-subordination to identify and respond to issues of harassment in a consistent and consequential fashion. The second reflection contributes to our understanding of the current wave of democratic backsliding plague a number of world regions. None more perhaps than Central Europe in democratic backsliding and academic freedom in Hungary. The Sol NGT, a professor of political science and the prorector for Hungarian affairs at the Central European University, explored the impact of democratic backsliding on academic freedom in Viktor Orban, Hungary. The text not only provides a first-hand account of what has transpired at SEU, but discusses how the defense of academic freedom is a defense of freedom more generally and how universities and academics need to step up and play a critical role in fighting for it. The issue of democratic erosion is also considered in the review section with a wide-ranging symposium on Stephen Levitsky and Daniel Ziblatt's recent influential book How Democracy Died, which became a New York Times bestseller. Contribution to the symposium come from Sherry Berman, Valerie Burns, William Connolly, Catherine Kramer, Christopher Spation Parker, and Anibal Perez Liner. Our last reflection is less contemporary but no less important. Recently, comparative historical work on the origin of democracy has re-evaluated the role of religion and its development in that process in the essentialist roles of representation and consent. Jürgen Moller argues that the discussion of the emergence of representative institutions in the medieval period neglect the emergence of representation and consensual rule in the Catholic Church. Such practice later diffused into the secular realm. This insight search for the lack on way representation from of the government first arose and spread throughout the Latin West. Final two issues conclude our first calendar year at the helm of the journal. It has been highly educative experience for us on the state of the discipline and its practitioner. It really feels like a privilege. The volume for 2020 is shaping up in the interesting way issues will feature Kathleen Taylor's prediction address and a special section on qualitative method that will be followed by our special issues on Trump cause and consequences and a special section on celebrity and politics. Just edited by board member Samantha Magic will follow in the second half of the year. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for the audience and this our presentation. Thank you.